Welcome to the Dan Stevens Show. So what I'm going to talk about now is an insult that I saw in the comment section of a comedian's TikTok account that he put out a video. Someone commented and they said, "This is about as funny as a fart in an elevator." And I began to think to myself, wait a minute. That's purely subjective. I mean, a fart is not funny for the recipient, but it is funny for the perpetrator. I don't care what anyone says. In certain situations, it's very funny. I don't know why. And I'm going to give you an example of this. So, a little while back, myself and a gang of louts travelled to Paris, France, as Ireland were participating in the Rugby World Cup over there. And on this particular night, they were playing South Africa. My brother is in his early 40s, all of his friends. I tagged along. I decided to go late. I had nothing going on. So I went over. I just drank in the pubs. They went to the match. We all drank loads. Whatever. Next morning. So, now, these are all big men. And I'm a big man myself, I know. But my brother and his friend are the main two characters in this story I'm about to tell you. They are the main two people. And they're the type of men that, like myself, I know from experience, big lads, you know, they'd be the type of lads who, they'd fill a seat on a bus. Put it that way. You'd get on the bus, you'd go upstairs, you look down, you see one free seat, but it's not really a free seat. Because a fella like me or my brother or his friend are sitting there. And you wouldn't fit. It's not nothing you can do, it's just nature. You just have to go back downstairs and stand up. Seat fillers, that's what these lads are. So, as well as that, you get onto a plane. You don't want one of us in your aisle. You don't want one of us sitting beside you. You just don't. You can be polite as you want. You see me or my brother or this fella that I'm going to tell you about. Nah, you're just like, fuck, this is going to be a rough one. Be like that, you know. Like you're not winning the elbow battle. You just can't. Again, it's nature. That's who you're dealing with here. So what happened was, we would have all had double digits pints, a few shorts, bit of grub, you know. There was a lot of Guinness drank, I remember in particular. A lot of Guinness. And we all would have went into double digits. Anyway, it's about 11:30 the next morning, 11:30, as they say. And I've left my kip of a hotel and I'm walking down to meet my brother and his friend. As I say, two lads in their early 40s. We're all stout lads, well able to handle a good bit of gargle. But like anyone else, you suffer the consequences the next morning. I had an awful hangover. I presumed the two lads did as well. And I'm standing outside the hotel. They were in a big hotel. And I'm waiting, and I see the two boys falling out of the hotel exit doors, laugh with laughter. I mean, unable to breathe with laughter. Just choked up, they could hardly talk. So obviously I'm curious immediately. I said, what happened? And I'm going to tell you what happened. So what happened was, the lads got into the lift. They were on the top floor. I think there was 7 or 8 floors. And they got in on the top floor. With their bag and baggage, they got in. Sure, the lift would be nearly full. There was a small lift. There wasn't much space in it. Wasn't much room to manoeuvre with them two in there. Anyway, they get into the lift. And the lift obviously starts descending. It stops. And just as it stops, my brother's friend says to my brother, Steve-O's, he says. That's my brother's nickname. He said, Steve-O's, I need to fart. I can't hold it in. At this point, the door opens. Ding! And a very slight young, what turned out to be a French girl, probably visiting from another French province or whatever, I don't know, but she was a very pretty young girl, 19 or 20, slight in stature, little handbag, Very respectful. A smell of sweet perfume off her. Little did she know what she was getting herself in for. The door closes. The two boys are waiting in participation. My brother and his friend. And the lift again begins to descend and he can't hold it in. All of a sudden his priorities changed. His original priority was to hold in the fart. All of a sudden he's like, I can't hold this in anymore. The best case scenario here is that it's silent and it hasn't permeated and filled the lift by the time this girl gets out. By the time they reach the bottom. So best case scenario is that he's hoping for a quiet fart that doesn't permeate quickly and doesn't spread out quickly. What happened was the exact opposite. He blurted and it was like a thunderclap. It was long, it was strong, earthy. It had it all. It was a classic high-end Guinness fart with a touch of kebab. And he just let loose. He couldn't hold on anymore. The two lads just absolutely descend into violent laughter. They just can't stop. Meanwhile, this girl is absolutely... She's going... Poo! Poo! Oh, mon Dieu! Oh, mon Dieu! Poo! They put a poo... Poo! They put an E at the end of it in France. And she's hitting the thing. She can barely see there. She's like, oh... This poor girl had never experienced a Guinness fart, and let alone a double digits. Them lads would have had, I'd say, 28 points between them, I'd say. Plus shorts, plus grub. Like, this was an expensive fart as well. This fart would have been worth about 200. There was a lot put into it. Anyway, she's struggling in the haze. Oh, pee, pee. She's hitting the button. And she escapes. She ends up stopping the lift on the first floor. She couldn't even stick it to get to the ground floor. The poor girl, she got them open anyway. You know, and scuttled out. Poor thing. The lads continued on in the lift, and that was the moment when I met them outside, and they told me what happened, and I joined them in torrential laughter. It was absolutely unbelievable. I'd say that poor girl, like, that's what I'm saying. A fart in a lift is not funny to her, but for the two boys, it was fucking hilarious. And it is. There's something about, I don't know, maybe it's a control thing. I don't know what it is, but, you know, and you're letting out your scent, you know, like a skunk. You're kind of marking your territory, maybe. So a great memory for me and for my brother and his friend, but for her, probably has PTSD. I'd say any time she hears a bit of thunder, oh man, do poo. A thunderclap. Yeah, probably never get it. I'd say she takes the stairs everywhere now as well. She'll never get into a lift again. The poor girl. Sacre bleu. Anyway. God bless her. I'd love to hear her telling her side of the story. Ugh, two monsters. Yeah. Anyway, that's all from me on this episode. Please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, please rate 5 stars. That would be great. And follow along to get notified for any episodes that come up. Same on YouTube, Apple, whatever you're listening on. I do appreciate it wherever you're listening from. Thanks for your support. Thanks for listening. I shall be back again soon with the next one. And remember, anytime someone says that's as funny as a fart in a lift, maybe it is funny. Alright. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Goodbye. Ooh, mon Dieu.